division. The topic for today is mathematics is the most important subject at school. Our judges for today are Mr. Banerjee, Miss Mukherjee and Mrs. Pundi. The order in which the four houses will be speaking today is Foy, Pal, Allen and lastly Condon. I would like to remind the speakers that they will be given 4 minutes to present their views. After 3 minutes, a bell will be rung, and after the 4th minute, the second bell will be rung. After a speaker has concluded his or her debate, members of other houses will be allowed to ask 2 questions. If they do not do so within 30 seconds, the speaker will be awarded full marks for rebuttal. So I urge all of you to ask as many questions as you can. Without further ado, I now call upon our first speaker for today, Dhairyam Virmani, speaking for the motion of Foy House.
You may deny it all you can, but ladies and gentlemen, believe me when I say that math is the man. Shocking for you perhaps, but not for Max Tegmark, a cosmologist who believes that the universe itself is math. Sounds like the universe itself. A place, a school where human beings can learn everything they want is trying to say that math is the most important subject it has to offer. Then who are we to argue? Right, maths teachers? Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, honorable judges and my worthy friends. The acronym MATH, as the opposition would have us believe, actually does not stand for too hard or meaningless or mental abuse, but actually M stands for memory, A stands for accuracy, T stands for talent and H stands for hard work. According to Alvin Toffler, the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but actually those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. Contrary to popular belief, studying mathematics does not only develop more and more of scientists and engineers for the country, but it also produces more citizens who can work, think logically, creatively and critically no matter what their career fields are. A solid foundation in mathematics helps to develop and hones the skills of analyzing data, recognizing patterns, solving problems, conclusions, while being open to new information online. No matter which way I look at it, mathematics came first and foremost. Studying math helps us in very different ways in our lives. For example, calculating the income, calculating the amount you need to pay for your petrol, measuring the distance you need to go to work. Mathematics helps in our day-to-day decisions. Mathematics is a methodical application of matter. It is the cradle of all creations without which the world could not move an inch. Be it a farmer, a teacher, a scientist, an engineer, anyone, mathematics takes part in our day-to-day lives to make decisions. Let me explain how math and music, a favorite of every Wynberg-Allen student, are connected. Simple. The phenomenon of the strings vibrating at certain different frequencies to create certain different sound waves. Math helps us to study these elements like music, tempo, meter, pitch, frequencies, set theory, number theory, abstract algebra. All of this composes and makes the one backbone that helps us to compose and hear music. Maths and art. Leonardo da Vinci used mathematical perspective of linear equations to make the drawing of the Vitruvian Man. The drawing of the Mona Lisa was made on the basis of the golden ratio. Psychological research is based on mathematical models. Quantitative research also is based on mathematical perspectives. In conclusion, it is not just me or the math department at Wynberg-Allen, but the universe who is asking you to accept the indisputable fact that mathematics is indeed the most important subject in the school of life and at school. Thank you.
Thank you, Dario. Questions? Palhouse.
Mr. Speaker, you had mentioned in a debate that maths help us to make our daily decisions. How can you say that maths helps us make our daily decisions?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Interjector. With the permission of the chair, I would like to answer. I said the following because math takes part in our day-to-day lives because it has following properties like in a day you need to pay for your food, or you need to sometimes you cook and you have to know the right proportion you have to put the food and things like that. So mathematics helps to take those decisions in your daily life. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, in your debate you mentioned that math is the man. What exactly do you mean by that?
Thank you for the question, Madam Interjector. With the permission of the chair, I would like to answer it. I said that math is the man. I would actually love to say that math is the man and the woman, but I just can't change the established idiom. So that's why I placed like math is the man in my debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Dario. Anaya Sinor of Foy House against the motion.
Dear Matt, please grow up and solve your own problems. I'm tired of solving them for you. No offense intended to Matt, but I do think it is being too presumptuous to assume that it is the most important subject. Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, members of the jury, and my worthy opponents. I am sure that Archimedes, the man touted as the father of mathematics, gave the world something extraordinary. But so did Shakespeare, a man after my own heart. And that gets me to my first constructive argument. The most important subject in school for an individual would be the one that helps her choose her future career, a career that she would totally love. For me, it would be in a newsroom, communicating with people, or interviewing them. So, is math the most important subject for me at school? Nope, I don't study it at all. I did for the first 8 years of my life and then switched to the subjects of my choice. And thank you, Wynberg-Allen, for giving me that choice. According to Kobe Bryant, the most important thing is to try and inspire people so that you can be great at whatever they want to do. Therefore, the subject or subjects that inspire you the most would be the best for you at school. For my friend Shahan, perhaps, math is the most important subject as he eats, lives and breathes math. I would like to use his favorite quote as my second constructive argument. He says that math is like going to the gym for your brain. It sharpens your mind. And I vehemently disagree. There are other ways to sharpen your mind too. And my world is not so dull and drab to be made up of numbers and equations. My world has the splashes of color, the beauty of language, and the music of poetry. Math is an important subject. Notice the key words, math and important. Therefore, math is an important subject, but not the most important one. Now, don't just take my word for it. Allow me to provide some evidence. On June 20th, 2017, a petition was filed in the Bombay High Court by Dr. Harish Shetty. It was regarding the difficulties students were facing because they were not good with math. While the two judges were observing, they noticed that there had been a spike in the dropout rate after class 10. Justice Kennedy then announced that it should be an optional subject. Numerophobia, arithmophobia, or mathematics anxiety are some names given to a condition where students fear dealing with numbers or mathematics. In India, if you're good at math, you're sadly considered to be smart or smarter than a person who is good with words. If subjects had their own mind, there would be a battle. How easily a mathematics teacher reads an art class or a physical training period just because the math portion is not over yet. Shakespeare, who wrote at least 38 plays, was no mathematician. In conclusion, I would like to say that the most important thing is to try and inspire students so that they can be great at whatever they want to do, because at the end of the day, they're their own priority. Thank you.
Questions? Comments?
Ms. Speaker, you mentioned in your debate that there are other ways to sharpen your mind, but don't you think that solving maths questions would be the most effective way?
I don't think so, because personally I have not taken math at all and I love to read. So reading makes my mind a bit more sharper. Thank you.
Alan House.
Madam Speaker, you said in your debate that your life you want splashes of color and poetry in your life. But don't you think poetry and art also requires maths? Please express your views.
I don't think so. It does require that much of math. As long as I have learned a bit of math, it's enough for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anaya. Pratha Singhal of Pal House, presenting her views in favor of the motion.
Pure mathematics is, in its way, the poetry of logical ideas. Albert Einstein. Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, my dear opponents, and the House at large. Mathematics is a study of measurements, numbers, and space, which is one of the first sciences that humans work to develop because of its benefits and its great importance. The origin of the word mathematics is in ancient Greek. It means that which is learned or what one gets to know, or simply study. Mathematics is a powerful tool for global understanding and communication and helps organizing our lives. It encourages logical reasoning, critical thinking, and creative thinking too. Mathematics plays a silent role in all aspects of life. May it be daily matters such as tracking, driving, studying, cooking, or jobs such as finance and banking. Maths is important. It helps develop the ability to think. It helps us explain how things work. It helps to develop wisdom, increases speed of intuition, and it is important in a constantly evolving world. Maths is the pillar of organized life for the present day. Without numbers and mathematical evidence, we cannot resolve any issues in our daily lives. When man first wanted to answer the question such as how many, maths was invented. I think it is impossible to limit the uses of maths in our everyday life. Can you play a game without using numbers? Can you shop at a store without using numbers? Can you organize anything without using numbers? The answer is a simple no. The importance of maths is that it's a method based on research and analysis to reach the results you desire. It is used for calculation and presentation of data. Not only the use of this science in a specific field, but the use of all areas of life and different sciences. Maths can be found in any field of profession. Mathematics makes our life orderly and prevents chaos. Certain qualities that are nurtured by mathematics are power of reasoning, creativity, abstract or smart thinking, and all these qualities are required to be a successful individual. Thus, maths has become the companion of man and his helper since the human existence. And I would like to conclude by saying, mathematics gives us hope that every problem has a solution. Thank you.
Questions? Condon House.
Madam Speaker, You mentioned in your debate that maths could be found in any field. What would you say about someone that has writing as their profession?
I would say that if someone takes reading or if someone is an author, maths is important because in middle school they have to take maths so that they have many career options. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, you said in your debate that maths is required to be a successful person. But don't you think there are many people in this world who haven't taken maths and are very successful?
I know that there are many people who don't have maths but still they are successful. But there are a few people who don't have maths and they are successful. What about the other people who have maths and they have maths and they can be successful through maths? Thank you.
Thank you, Pratha. Vardhan Agarwal of Pal House speaking against the motion.
A very good afternoon, Madam Chairperson, members of the jury, my worthy opponents and the House at large. The topic prevailing in the House today is that mathematics is the most important subject at school, and I, Vardhan Agarwal from Pal House, will speak against the motion. Mathematics, a fearfully fascinating subject. It is used in numerous areas in our everyday life. Does this make mathematics the most important subject? I do not believe so. The presence of other fields is indispensable and requisite in our day-to-day life. Languages such as Hindi and English are vital for communication, history to explain and analyze problems of the past, civics for an effective and perpetual administration, geography for navigation, and the list could go on and on. Mathematics is a relevant subject, but I wouldn't say it is the most important one. If any of my opponents believe maths to be the most important subject, then why is there an option to drop mathematics in classes 9 and 11? People's exaggeration has given maths a place of gods. Dropping maths acts as a faux pas in the society. Everyone cannot handle the extreme pressure of a demanding and arduous subject such as mathematics, so the council gives an option to opt another useful and less pressurizing subject. At this point, people have mathematical anxiety or arithmophobia, as they say. Unfortunately, this leads to less efficiency, tension, apprehension, etc. Mathematics, even when opted for, cannot be studied alone. Mathematics can be combined with various subjects to make it even more effective, such as physics, chemistry, and computer sciences. So, in the case of mathematics, there is always room to add on. I firmly believe that mathematics, being the most important subject, is a misnomer because judging students solely on their ability to solve sums is absolutely absurd. All other subjects at school are equally important, and there is no substantial proof that mastering mathematics will fetch good marks and good understanding in other subjects. In fact, the extra time spent in studying mathematics will lead to lesser focus in other subjects, which might lead to suffering of a student's academic performance due to a poor act in other subjects. In conclusion, I would like to quote Albert Einstein, quote, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend his whole life believing that it is stupid." Unquote. Thank you.
Questions? Alan House.
Mr. Speaker, don't you believe that maths can cause stress to children?
Could you please?
I'm sorry, can I please rephrase that? Don't you think that maths would provide a better career options for a student?
I did say in my debate that mathematics is a relevant subject. But I also had mentioned in my debate that what about the students who do not have such a technical brain to analyze mathematics? So what will they do? It is a very demanding and arduous subject. So the council and the future has many job opportunities without mathematics which can help students. Thank you.
You mentioned that maths causes pressure and anxiety. What about the people that genuinely enjoy it?
The people who genuinely enjoy math, like, of course there are some people who do not enjoy math and they want to go for other career options in their life. But you cannot deny the fact that for some people it is so arduous and so demanding that for some people who genuinely love it, they can go for it. It might even help them in the future. But the people who don't like maths, of course, they have other career options as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Vardhan. Nathan Das of Allen House speaking in favor of the motion.
With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to begin my debate. What calculations were used to build the pyramids? Why do suspension bridges not fail? How is landing on the moon possible? In all of these questions lies the solution based on the usage of mathematics. Without mathematics, none of this would be possible. Mathematics isn't everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. While some get an adrenaline rush spending hours tackling a problem, this same problem can make others want to pull their hair out. Thankfully, I haven't been a victim of it. Good afternoon to the house at large. I'm here to tell you that mathematics is the most important subject in school. Mathematics is food for the brain, says maths professor Dr. Arthur Benjamin. It helps you to think precisely, creatively, decisively, and it enables you to look at the world from multiple perspectives. It's a new way to experience beauty in the form of a surprising pattern or an elegant logical argument. Meaning, maths is about making connections and seeing patterns. The concrete and abstract thinking required by maths builds the brain's muscles, which in turn prepares you for other academic pursuits. The study of maths is actually a springboard to increase overall intelligence. Let's look at science. Science without mathematics is totally meaningless. One of the greatest mathematicians, Carl Friedrich Gauss, said that maths is the queen of all sciences. Charles' law of expansion of gases is totally based upon mathematical calculations. Mathematics has a very high correlation with biology. To measuring blood pressure, to count the number of bones in the human body, maths is everywhere. Data also confirms this, that on Google search, just the two keywords, maths and mathematics, were searched for more than 24 million times in the last 2 years. Do you ever wonder how shapes fit together, the spirals in a seashell, the details of a snowflake, or finding the solution to a Rubik's Cube? This is maths in action. Maths is like a language just like science, Chinese, or English. It enables people to communicate with each other. A maths equation does not need to be translated for someone on the other side of the planet to understand. A mathematical law doesn't change because a person has a different religion than you or speaks a different language. 2 plus 2 is always 4. Consider sports like running, swimming, or racing, where athletes often gauge their performance based on lap averages and time durations. In these sports, a fraction of a second can be the difference between coming in second place or making a new world record. Here also maths is applied. Even in ancient times, people needed maths to conduct trade, to build monuments, and even to measure land for farming. Galileo Galilei said, "If I were again beginning my studies, I would follow the advice of Plato and begin with mathematics." To live in a mathematically driven world and not know maths is like walking through an art museum with your eyes closed. Learning and appreciating maths can help you appreciate things you would otherwise not notice about the world. In reality, maths is everywhere. So if it's to do with science, language, history or even arts, maths is a basic foundation from where it all starts. Because without maths, from where it all starts. Because as for now and for generations to come, mathematics will and always be the most important subject of all. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Questions? Fires?
Mr. Speaker, in your debate you said that maths without science is useless. How is math nothing without science?
Thank you for your question. With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to answer that question. You said that maths without science is nothing, right? That is actually not true. Maths is the basics for physics, science, and biology also. So that should prove to you that mathematics is useful without science.
Mr. Speaker, you had mentioned, the importance of other subjects is very important in our everyday life. When you're speaking right now, this debate at this stage, you're not speaking in numbers or symbols. You need a language to even express your views. What are your views?
I mentioned in my debate that maths is required in our day-to-day lives and is interrelated with every subject. I am not saying that you're not supposed to study other subjects. You need to study other subjects to speak the way I'm speaking right now. So, but I believe, in my opinion, that maths is the most important out of all of them.
Thank you, Nathan. I urge all audience members to please sit up and wake everyone around you. Ashvi Dhaliwal of Allen House against the motion.
With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to begin my debate. If Jane has 23 cats and I have 2 cats and then Jane gives me 5 cats, how many more cats does Jane have than I do? Quite frankly, what I am concerned about here is the mental health of Jane. Why in the world would she keep 23 cats? And if for some strange reason she did do so, what makes her think that she can palm off 5 cats on me? I don't want them. 2 are quite enough for me. Good afternoon to the house at large. The point I'm trying to make here is that while Jane's cat conundrum will certainly interest a student who likes mathematics and plans to pursue it later on in life, someone who plans to pursue a career in advertising, theatre, music, fine arts, fashion designing, and other creative fields would not really need to learn how to solve such mathematical problems. My worthy opponents may point out the practical benefits of learning how to subtract, add, multiply, and divide. But do we use algebra or logarithms in everyday life? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to draw your attention to the key aspects of today's topic, the words most important. I put before you my argument that while learning mathematics is undoubtedly important and beneficial, it is not the most important subject at school, because the degree of importance that we attach to a subject is very relative and varies from individual to individual. For a student who wants to become an accountant, an engineer, a financial analyst, or an architect, mathematics would definitely be the most important subject at school. However, For a student who wants to become a jewelry designer, a speech trainer, a translator, a media professional, or an illustrator, subjects like art and English would be the most important ones at school. For a student interested in the study of society and human social behavior, sociology would be the most important subject, and so on and so forth. Maths in itself puts tremendous pressure on students. In fact, there's a term, maths anxiety, which was coined 50 years earlier. It refers to the feeling of hopelessness that torments many people when they attempt to solve mathematical problems. Many children suffer from it and undergo a great deal of stress due to it. Thankfully, these children can drop maths in class 9 if they choose to. The Council for the Indian School Certificate Examinations gives students the option of dropping maths after class 8. This is because it recognizes the fact that mathematics is not the be-all and end-all of a student's existence. According to Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, there are many kinds of intelligence and not just mathematical intelligence. There is musical, spatial, interpersonal, visual, and linguistic intelligence. Hence, different subjects will be the most important for different students. The fact of the matter is that there is a fascinating, enchanting, beautiful world that exists beyond the realm of mathematics, a world of color, rhythm, dance, drama, music, and the magic of words. If logic, rationality, and calculation is important, so is creativity and the ability to think outside the box. Let both worlds be given their due, for that would be the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Go ahead.
Madam Interjector, in your debate, you mentioned some examples of professions which you can achieve without mathematics. One of them was a jeweler. Don't you think that a jeweler is the one who requires mathematics the most in his life?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Interjector. With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to answer the question. Mathematics is required in all these fields, but at a minimum stage. It is not the most important subject that the person will look into when they do these things. Like for a jeweler, he will learn to make jewelry first in mathematics. Mathematics would not be the most important subject for him. Like for a fashion designer also, he would learn how to sew garments together, and the knowledge of garments would be most important to him than mathematics. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, you mentioned in your debate that we do not use algebra and logarithms in everyday life. Some of these topics are used to boost our understanding. Please express it.
Can you please rephrase the question?
You mentioned in your debate that we do not use algebra and logarithms in everyday life. Some of these topics are used to boost our understanding. Please express it.
Thank you for the question, Madam Interjector. I did say that algebra and logarithms are not used in everyday life because they aren't. And mathematics is very used at very minimum stage, which we can use calculators for. Subjects like English and Hindi would be most important because it teaches us how to interact with others. It teaches us languages and other things which will help us communicate with others. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwin. Ashwin Goel of Condon House speaking for the motion.
Mathematics is not only about numbers, equations, computations, or algorithm. It is about understanding. William Paul Thurston. Good afternoon to the House at large. I, Ashwin Goel, representing Condon House, am standing here firmly in favor of the motion. Mathematics is not just a subject, but it is a universal language, as it is always the same. Let's take a very basic example. 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. the value of which remains the same throughout the world. Have you ever wondered why we make use of the words such as maybe, I guess, or presumable in our day-to-day conversations? Well, this implies that we are able to comprehend that an event may or may not have occurred. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is basic probability and, of course, basic maths. Mathematics provides foundational knowledge and skills for other school subjects such as science, arts, economics, etc. That itself is enough to show that mathematics is the most important subject. Maths is the language of science. It tells science and technology how to work. So without maths, there won't be any cars, computers, iPhone, tablets, toothpaste, or life-saving pharmaceutical drugs, and definitely no planes or trains. Imagine you are cooking a dish and you don't know in what proportion should the ingredients go in to bring out the right taste, or to find the size which fits you right when you go for shopping, or simply how much change you need to get back from the taxi driver. Well, without the knowledge of basic maths, such tiny tasks would turn into unnecessary complication. Now my opponents would argue that these are just some must-have everyday values. But let me tell you that these basic values also fall under the subject of mathematics. I would also like to mention the fact that we have been studying maths as one of our core subjects for years now. And that's the reason we have become capable to solve such problems. Languages continually fall out of favor as old languages come and go and the new words join the lexicon. Even in science, nothing can ever be proven. It can merely be stated, agree with observation. Even Newton's law of gravitation was found to be imperfect once Einstein came up with his theory of relativity. In contrast, the laws of mathematics are proven logically from the stated set of starting points, which are eternal and incontrovertible in a way that no other subjects can claim. In the end, I would like to quote by Martin Gardner, a popular American mathematician. Mathematics is not real, but it is the only reality. Thank you.
Questions? Finals?
Mr. Speaker, what about the students who do not like mathematics? Your opponents have mentioned this in the debates that the ICSE Council allows people, the students, to drop maths in classes 9 and 11. And because of this, like the ratios of arithmophobia, the anxiety of mathematics is increasing. So the job opportunities without maths, with subjects such as humanities or pure science, are also increasing. Please express your views.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Interjector. With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to answer. Well, from class 9, you are actually able to drop maths. But before that, you have to study maths. Maths provides you the foundational knowledge and skills like critical thinking, the ability to reason, and that's the main purpose. That builds the foundation of human brain. Thank you.
I request the participants to keep their questions short and precise. Next question, Allen House.
Don't you think that subjects like Hindi and English would be more important than maths because they help us to communicate with others, people?
Thank you for your question, ma'am, interjector. With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to answer. Well, as I mentioned in my debate, that maths builds the foundational knowledge and skills of human beings. As it applies to that, it builds the ability to reason and to think. That the same goes for communication. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashma. Isha Loda of Cornham House speaking against the motion.
afternoon, respected judges, worthy opponents, and the House at large. This afternoon, I will be presenting to you why I feel that mathematics is not the most important subject in school. Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, and most importantly, the love of what you are doing or learning to do. I would like to start my debate by putting forth my first constructive argument. Education. Arguably the most important aspect of our lives. There are multiple universities nowadays that are based solely on and around the ideas of teaching and making their students master the creative sciences and liberal arts. Just because their main focus isn't only on mathematics doesn't mean that they don't send out extremely successful people into the world. Now, for my next constructive argument, I would like to add a slightly psychological aspect towards it. People's mindsets and perspectives, they've been changing. They aren't as conservative and traditional thinking as they once used to be, which means that they now support their children pursuing careers that aren't just maths and science based. Let's see how this plays out in real life though. Michael Jordan, someone I'm sure everyone here has heard about at least once in their lifetime. He admitted to struggling with maths in school. But did he let that define him? Did he stop there with his hands in the air, a sign of lost hope? No, he worked. He worked hard and let the amount of failures he had become the reasons to his success today. Jordan was amongst the NBA's main players and more importantly, one of the most respected sportsmen for the sole reason that he refused to give in to the norms put up by society and let them extinguish his fire. Maths causes a huge amount of stress, pressure, tension and anxiety for a lot of people, and I'm sure some of them are seated here. Many adults have reportedly admitted to hating maths in school, which brings me to a question that I've been thinking a lot about. Why should we bother doing something that brings us not even an ounce of joy? Is it just because of society? Likewise, if history is something I genuinely like, to me it will be the most important subject, whereas I might not be able to say the same for maths. In India, during our ICSE board examinations, our top 5 subjects are considered. It hasn't been declared anywhere that it is imperative for maths to be one of those 5 subjects. In simple words, if maths actually was the most important subject in school, it would be compulsory for us to study it throughout. But it isn't, and I feel that that proves my point as well as my debate. To conclude my debate, I would like to take a vote. Since this sounds perfect in theory, but I would like to prove it to you in real life. How many of you seated here agree that mathematics is not the most important subject in school? Please raise your hands. Take a good look around you. I think this poll and the House just approved of and supported my entire argument, and I think that says it all. Thank you.
Questions?
Madam Interjector, in your debate you mentioned that math causes stress. Isn't it the way of teaching that causes stress to people?
Thank you for your question. With the permission of the chairperson, I would like to answer it. There are multiple ways of teaching, but a student may not be able to understand it. That doesn't depend on a way a teacher teaches, but it depends on his or her capacity of understanding the subject. Thank you for your question.
Alan House.
Don't you think mathematics is used in every aspect of life?
I disagree. I feel that in professions such as writing or acting, mathematics isn't used extensively. Thank you.
Thank you, Isha. I now request members of the audience to come up and share their views.